Oh, well, hello, my wonderful, beautiful broskies, my wonderful, beautiful bros, guys of the Maverick Nation. Excuse me. Welcome to part two of What If Donquixote Doflamingo was Naruto's uncle. Yes, part two of that. Finally getting to this shit. Finally actually getting into the story. Now, basically, with everything, we're gonna start basically with everything. Hmm. I would go basically the whole thing where Naruto. Shit. Jesus. Basically, Naruto basically can't be told about his parents yet. So basically, the two Doflamingos, Donquixote and Rosinante, basically are his uncles. Besides, here's in the only, here's in Taiuchi Ayame. Basically, besides, oh, and also Iruka. Basically, besides them, the only people that really give a shit about Naruto's well-being. And even to the point to where, well, one day, you know, it's just some menial kind of chakra control training because basically, Rosinante tries to not be so brutal, but Don Quixote, you know, kind of realizes that unless they are as brutal as, he's going to be, unless they are, like, he's never going to learn. So he's just as brutal as possible. He just tells Naruto straight up, your chakra control is ass. Like, ass or worse than brasser. Like, no hard feelings, but it's kind of the cold hard truth. Your chakra control is ass. In fact, I think even ass would be offended by being compared to your chakra control. Like freaking Don Quixote Doflamingo, like being brutally honest, and not like Naruto is just like, well, nothing unlike what the villagers would probably say. And well, Don Quixote Doflamingo basically would be thinking, something's amiss. Usually Rosinante would be around here by now. It's not like him to be late. And, he'd just be like, yo, Naruto. Hmm. Like, Don Quixote just create a string clone of himself, like his Black Knight. He would just create a string clone of himself to just make it look like he never left, but secretly he would have left to figure out why the hell Rosinante isn't there yet, like to, assist in Naruto's training. And basically, Donquixote isn't really having all that much luck. And well, so, you know, like all this frustration ends up causing his Black Knight thing to unravel. And Naruto ends up, you know, just walking out into the woods. And he ends up getting accosted by some of Danzo's Rudambu and even Danzo himself. And it turns out Danzo actually has a dead body with him. Like a freaking corpse, just like that. He just has a corpse that he just seems to not give a shit about. And he just has it in his hands. But Naruto realizes the corpse of the person, that's Rosinante, that's Uncle Rosinante. And basically, Naruto isn't as dense as people think that he is, or some people do. And basically, he hasn't even remembered before whenever Rosinante was thinking about, like, if he ever had to confront Danzo, that he might actually end up dead. And apparently, he was actually very correct. And basically, like, running through Naruto right now, just like running through him, like his power, like the power of the conquer spirit. And so he just starts, like, like going down. But before he's able to really do that, like Danzo's root Ambu, like freaking decide to like group attack Naruto, but like just like and just like they just get like kind of cut up into like little tiny pieces, and Naruto's kind of like just dripping with blood, and he just like like this white ass freaking grin, and then Danzo can just feel it, like this power of what he can only explain as the conqueror spirit. It's just like Danzo can't even freaking understand it. And basically, like Danzo just can't understand it. And then, Naruto just shoots a string from his fingertips straight into one of Danzo's arms and then into his eye. Like, he's like, and then just rips the arm off by pulling the strings back, and rips the eye out by pulling the other string back. And Danzo's just like, fuck. Damn it. And Naruto's just like, oh, what's this? You've been hiding your eyes. The Sharingan. Tisk. Naughty little Danzo, Shimura. And then Naruto just jumps up into the air and shoots strings up into the sky. And then grabs onto the clouds with the strings. And he just freaking leaps over with his like legs stretched out like in like a drop kick position, and like causes the strings to let go of the clouds. So he's literally flying towards Donzo, and Donzo is literally on his knees, and so he like drop kick, like boom, like sends him flying back like that, and like it literally causes his heart to explode. How strong that freaking drop kick was. And yeah, basically, the like freaking drop kick that Donzo just got smashed with was like covered with like the entire leg was covered with like Bushashoku hockey. I believe that's what armament hockey is called in Japanese. Bushashoku. And basically he was like smashed. Like lemon smash. And Naruto was just like he just like kicked the ever living crap out of Donzo. And like he just like has strings as he's getting up, and basically the strings like wrap around Donzo's neck and they constrict, and Naruto's like, now do you have any confessions? And Donzo's just like, I did everything for the good that could. And Naruto would just be like, no lying. And then he would just be like, now, birdcage. And just like, and it would just be a bloodbath. And Naruto would be even more bloodied. And then, right as this, like, ended up happening, and Naruto, like, hearing his name being called out, but he wouldn't even know the person yet. Like, he'd just be like, what the? And then he would just hear, like, Naruto! And then Naruto would just look back and he would be like, uh, uh, he wouldn't even be able to form, like, proper words. He wouldn't even be able to words. Basically, he would just feel it wrapped around him. And Naruto would see this, like, it would feel weird because, his uncle Don Quixote, Uncle Don Quixote to him, that's what he always known him. That's what he's always known him as, Uncle Don Quixote. He's never really known Uncle Don Quixote, his Uncle Don Quixote, to ever be like this, all sappy and shit. And basically, just backing off from Naruto, realizing how much blood was on him. But there would be some questions to be asked, like, where the hell is Rosanna? What? Rosanna? And he would just see Rosinante, like his corpse and like everything, and like the corpse of several Rudambu agents, and Donzo was like freaking like everything, like destroyed. And the evidence with like the arm and like the eye, like it's like all the evidence needed to prove that Donzo was doing some pretty shady shit, you know, behind Harrison's back. And, Don Quixote would be like, damn it, Naruto. Okay, we gotta find the old man. And basically just grab Naruto and, freaking Shun Shun. like string shinshin, like boom, and just pop straight up in there. And Hiruzen would be like, "What the hell?" It's like not only that it just popped in there, but the fact that Naruto's covered in freaking blood. And there's several spots on, Donquixote freaking because of the fact that he hugged Naruto and Naruto was like bloodbath mode. And basically, you know, here's we get the story from both Naruto and Don Quixote, what he saw, and basically Hiruzen would be like, ah shit. Oh, this changes like a lot of things. Well, basically, with all of this, the whole truth about Itachi and what he did and why he did it, kind of get moved around, like switched around to, you know, form a whole totally different story from what would have been told because of what Danzo tried to do to Itachi. Try to do him dirty. But now that he's out of the picture, basically, you know, kind of cleared that up really good. So now Sasuke wouldn't have the emo rage mode, avenger of his clan. Because not only is Itachi basically like, you know, given like the reason for why he did what he did and how important it was, but who was the main like factor in why that all came up in the first place? And the fact that they're already dead, very dead, like completely dead, beyond belief. And seeing as Naruto basically was the one to do the job, Naruto and Sasuke already get a pretty good relationship and actually become good friends because, well, Sasuke's like, man, the fact that Naruto killed Danzo for Sasuke, like, they become good friends, like, really. Plus, they both, have their thing where Sasuke kind of has, like, the Sharingan problem, like, all the problems that come with being a Uchiha in the day and age. And Naruto basically is able to confide with Sasuke about the whole problem, basically, asking Hiruzen if it would be okay to tell, Sasuke, and basically, once he has, inevitably has, told Sasuke, Sasuke doesn't really seem to be all that, much of a dick about it, about the whole thing about Naruto's being the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails. And you guys might be wondering, how does Naruto know about the fact that he's the Jinchuriki of Nine Tails? Well, basically, whenever Don Quixote figured out about the fact that Naruto was able to fully awaken the ability of the strings, at least at the surface level, awaken it, like not like awaken devil fruit level, but awakening at like actually being able to use it, actually even go all the way bird cage level, that's serious serial bullshit, holy shit. And basically, Don Quixote would have would think basically that, you know, if Hiruzen thought it was alright, that Naruto would be allowed to confide in Sasuke the secret of basically why everyone pretty much hates his ass. And basically, the Donquixote, in general, would be able to tell Naruto basically why everyone hated him in general. The fact that he was the container of basically the Nine Tails. And, well, basically, after all that is done and over with, basically, oh boy, you guys might be wondering, Naruto, he may be able to do all the Ito Ito thing, but, he still has the whole Koerami and the whole Henge and even the Bunshin thing that he's got to do, like, eventually whenever the graduation pops up. Well, just what if, maybe, you know, it was a Bunshin, but it wasn't specifically a type of Bunshin. Like, it could have been any Bunshin that you just had to make several of them. Like, it wasn't a specific type, but you just had to make enough. What if there was a little bit of an alteration that it just had to be a specific type, like a certain type? Like, it didn't have to be just the Bunshin, it could be any Bunshin. I'm gonna make that alteration there. And because of this, Naruto ends up making his own thing. Basically, what he calls Black Knight style string release Bunshin. Yes, Black Knight style string release Bunshin. And basically, Naruto's able to actually do a lot of fun shit with, his ability to basically be like ninja version of Doflamingo. And, and that's that type of shit. And considering, the way in which the chakra flows into the Black Knight in order to make it a Bunshin, or at least like sort of like a Bunshin, it does indeed work like how the Kagebushin works, in which, even though it's not a Kagebushin, it still would work like one, in which, whenever it was destroyed, Naruto would get the information from the destroyed Bunshin. Like, basically the chakra flowing through the Black Knight string release Bunshin, and the way the chakra flows through it basically makes it work like a Kage Bushin no Jutsu. Yeah, Naruto's basically able to do that, Naruto's basically been very creative. And he's even been able to create some techniques of his own. Getting very creative. But also use some techniques that also like the Black Knight, just like, how Doflamingo can use the Black Knight. That's an example, like, of a technique of Doflamingo's that Naruto can use. But he made an alteration to it, so they act more like a Kage Bushin no Jutsu, but with elements of the Black Knight technique. And, with this, basically Iruka lets him pass, because in a way it does indeed act like a Bunshin. And he's actually able to make 5 Black Knights. And this is actually something that whenever he actually tells his uncle Donquixote Doflamingo this, that he was actually able to make up to 5 before, possibility of losing any of his control of his chakra. You know, like, Naruto was thinking he could possibly do 6, but then he remembers, 6 was kind of where he started to, funnel out his chakra, and he wasn't really able to control the movements of his Black Knight Bunshin. Yeah, I'm just gonna call it that, Black Knight Bunshin. And basically, yeah. So, well, at least another thing that's changed from the story is that Naruto actually has actual family because Don Quixote Doflamingo in this story is indeed going to be related to Naruto through the Uzumaki in, Kushina, basically, through his mother's side, Uzumaki. And, well, basically, yeah, Don Quixote is just like, well, Naruto, I gotta let you in on a little something. Considering, the bombshell was just dropped out about you finally figuring out about your jerky status, I might not be able to stay here for a while. I might have to leave for a little bit. And so, I'm going to let you in on some other stuff that will help you, you know, basically, you know, no longer be in this space of a Konoha version of a red light district place. And basically, whenever Naruto really doesn't understand, basically, Don Quixote basically, shuns him, string shuns him on the way to this place, and it's basically like, Naruto, get out your freaking kunai. And Naruto's like, oh, how exactly did you know about the fact that I bought this? And Don Quixote would just be like, Naruto, you idiot, I was there with you. And Naruto would just be like, oh yeah, that's right. You and me pretty much emptied out Gamachan that day. Well, okay, what are we really doing this for? And basically, Don Quixote Doflamingo would tell him about the whole blood seal thing, and how the whole Namikaze Uzumaki compound. Basically, Naruto is an Uzumaki, right? So, these blood shields, these blood seals should react accordingly if you were to smear the blood on them. Any ones that he finds. And basically Naruto's like, okay, And just like Donquixote Doflamingo said, it works like so. And basically, eventually, Naruto and Donquixote Doflamingo, they get to the main attraction. Basically, Minato and Kushina's house. And basically, that would basically be a sign saying like whose house it was. And basically, before like Donquixote Doflamingo could really say anything, like Naruto would be like, I was the son of the fourth, and no one freaking told me? That old man lied. He freaking kept this from me. And, strings would just erupt. And, like, the freaking will of the freaking king, like the king's will, would just erupt from Naruto. And not wanting anyone to, like, freaking like be able to sense this like flare up, this big roar of energy like coming out. Like Don Quixote Doflamingo basically kind of reasons with Naruto that this was kind of important, what happened and why it happened. Like while he doesn't really know all the details, but from what he does know, what him and Hiruzen did talk about, you know, this wasn't important that it was kept a secret for how long it was kept a secret. Basically, Naruto's like, so you basically, from what I'm getting from this, you basically want me to make this my house from now on? And, Don Quixote Doflamingo would be like, well, I guess I gotta say, Yahtzee, bingo. And basically, Naruto would be like, well, could definitely use some dusting and, some free refurnishing, get some of my belongings back in my old apartment, put them in here, just to make it feel more like home. And, Don Quixote Doflamingo does indeed have some other things to say, like, he also had godparents, but one of them, kind of went away because of some problems that they blamed on the Leaf Village itself, and the other one wasn't really around because, apparently something to do with a spy network. And this just pisses off Naruto even more, but it's kind of shrouded in the fact that he like finally has something that he can call his own. But then that's whenever he remembers the council and how much they're probably going to deny Naruto the fact that he's like anything close to being related to Namikaze, so that he couldn't be like the child of Minato. And that's whenever Don Quixote like Doflamingo would just be like, yeah, and that's the thing. Earlier today, actually, that's why that's pretty much most of the reason why I was gone. Pretty much like spiffing up everything, just in case anything like this ever happened. And Naruto's basically just like, so he basically, and then Don Quixote Doflamingo would just be like, yep, kick the council's ass. And Naruto would just like fist, and Don Quixote Doflamingo would just be like seriously, fist bump. They would just be like happy, like, this is like one thing I could bring them happiness. And Naruto would be like, but you still have to leave. But even if you have to leave, where will you be going? I would at least like to know that. I don't want to feel completely alone. And, Don Quixote would just be like, Jesus. Why do I get the feeling that this is going to set off a chain of events that is really going to blow the load on this entire world? Shinobi or not. Hmm. Oh. Ah, shit. Oh, you really want to know? Hmm. I guess you could say preparations. Hmm. I may have not been able to capture Dressrosa, but that was a minor fluke compared to what's going to happen. And because of Sis, I now have free reign to fix everything. By telling you this, I might just be able to repair any damage that could be done in the future. Naruto, there is a war that is going to be coming. A pirate war. You Konoha Nens don't know anything about the true scope of what I've seen. The scope of what I've seen. So it seems that before I can bid you adieu, my nephew, I must train you in another art, one that I am very familiar with, along with my strings. The power of hockey. And basically, my man Dofi, would train Naruto in the art of hockey. And basically, this would lead up all the way to basically the actual time in which it would be, you know, basically time for everyone to meet up, introductions, basically all that. Basically, everybody be assigned their teams, introductions, all that. Basically leading up to that. And basically Naruto's in the classroom, basically waiting to being told what like team he's assigned to, and like how big and bad the collateral damage is going to be, like just like how bad the damage is going to be. So yeah, oh boy. The only member I'm going to change this is going to be Sakura. I'm going to change it. But I'm not going to change it to Hinata. I'm actually going to change it to Ino. Yes. And by changing it to Ino, I'm going to have the Inashikato trio changed. Basically, have Sakura where Ino would have been on Team 10. Basically, that's pretty much the only alterations really going to be made. Kakashi's still going to be the sensei, but seeing as things needed to be updated, Duffy needed to do one last checkup with Hiruzen, inform him that Naruto's been trained to basically be, Opath in all three types of Honky. Opath. The goat in all three types of Honky. And basically, whenever Hiruzen hears that, and notices that Dofi is freaking serious business face whenever he says this to him, he's like, oh shit. Freaking Dofi is he trained him to be a freaking monster. He trained Naruto to be a freaking monster. And would go to basically assign out everybody be assigned Team 7 would be Naruto, and then it would be Ino, and Sakura would just be thinking, come on, Sasuke-kun, 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 let Sasuke-kun. I want to be in his pants. Shit. This would be the trial. And last member of Team 7 being Sasuke. And, Sakura would just faint. And, Shikamaru would just be troublesome. Screaming banshee. And freaking Choji would just be I need more snacks. Nom nom nom, munch, 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 munch. And, Naruto would just be oh, so I get fangirl number 2 and Sasuke. And Sasuke would just be funny thing, Naruto, you referred to her as what I was going to refer to her as too. Fangirl number 2. Because everybody knows fangirl number 1, Sakura. She's also the screaming freaking banshee of the class. Doc Quanoichi or not, you're still a freaking screaming ass banshee. And, basically, it's yeah, I'm with Sasuke. But I'm also with Naruto. And Naruto's just I was hoping this team was going to be able to work out. But, here being a Sasuke fangirl, I don't know. I want to be able to work with Sasuke. No homo, but I don't really know anymore. And Sasuke would just be don't worry, I think I might know a solution. And, it would just be it would just be some sort of, there would be this very tense aura around the entire place. Like as Sasuke was trying to come up with a solution, he'd be like, "Nope, got nothing." And we'll just be like, "Is this what it feels like to be left in the dust? Dust in the wind. All we are is dust in the wind. All we are is dust in the wind. Dust in the wind." Damn, I love that song. And then Naruto would be like, "Oh, damn it. Who's our sensei again? Why is he taking so damn long to show the..." And then just like, boom, like, pop, like, open the door and like, "Oh, this is my class." And, like Sasuke would be like, "Oh, so he really is our sensei." And Naruto would just be like, "Well, I can't really say fashionably be late, but he is a Jonin sensei, so I guess I can't complain too much." Would just be like, "Don't be like Sakura, don't be like Sakura, don't be like Sakura." That's the only thing keeping her from yelling out that he was late. And seeing as none of them really have actually vocalized the fact that they were annoyed by the fact that he was late. Yeah, it's like just like Kakashi now has to reassessmate some things. He's like, "My first assessment of the you three, you're all strange, to say the least." And basically, they would go up to the roof, as Kakashi would say, they'll meet him up to the roof. And basically, the whole thing will go on with like, "Why don't you introduce yourself first, like to make an example, like blah 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 blah." Like Kakashi would do the same thing where he would just like they would really only get to know his name. And well, Sasuke, he really wouldn't do like his whole thing, like, "I want to kill a certain person," like blah 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 blah. But he would indeed admit that something that he didn't like is hanging out with his bud Naruto. Like him and Naruto and they're buds. And would indeed kind of, you know, it would be kind of similar to Sakura's whole thing, like where she would kind of be like glancing back at Sasuke and like being all bubbly, but trying to restrain herself as much as possible, considering like the odd spot that she's in. Like at first she was starting to like this, now she's not so sure. And Naruto would just straight up be like, things that I know a lot. Like first, like my name. Name is Naruto. Like basically, my name is Namikaze Naruto Uzumaki Doflamingo. Like literally, he would say Namikaze Naruto Uzumaki Doflamingo, and he would just be like, "Yeah, you just be owning that." And, he just be like, "Things I like, my friends, mm, Ichiraku's ramen, things I like, I don't really know all that much, I guess, training." He would kind of be like at a loss for words, and he'd be like, "Things I don't like, people that judge someone before they get to know them, and other things I don't like, fangirls, and other things I don't like, The whole thing with instant ramen and how long it takes, you know, for it to, get ready, and the fact that it just doesn't taste the same as Ichiraku ramen. In terms of the future, well, it was one time, to be Hokage, but now I'm not so sure. But, that's still an option that's there. So, yeah. Basically, yeah, that would basically be everything. Kakashi would still do the whole thing, you know, after they had all introduced themselves, about the whole test and, everything to do with it. Like, you know, so yeah, I think this is where I should have ended off. Part two. What if Donquixote Doflamingo was Naruto's uncle? Deuces!